faster, healthier, better.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Appreciate you wearing the shirt, by the way.
Had to.
Representing Get Alpha Fitness. Okay, so usually with our guests, they bring in their favorite beverage. So tell me a little bit how you kind of fell upon Sandbagger.
I actually had I had a pair of clients in Newmarket. They got some money, and so I trained them in their garage, like held pads for them, and they have a pool in their backyard they got set up with. So I'd hang out with them for a bit afterwards, and they got me on these. The original flavor, like this is boysenberry right now, still really good. The lemon flavor is also the one that got me on, and
you said that's the best flavor.
Yeah,
in your opinion.
I prefer this one in my opinion.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's like I don't like gin, but this is like a gin based drink, and it's so good.
Have you tried Ryan Reynolds gin? Aviation.
I must say, see, that's the thing. I don't like gin, so I
don't like gin either because I don't like the floral kind of taste to it. But his has no floral taste to it.
Really?
So it's really, really good.
My only experience with gin was a bad one.
Do tell.
Involving like shots and not remembering the next morning.
Okay, so you can't tell because you don't remember.
Yeah, exactly. But I remember burning on the way down.
Oh, God. Okay, so let's open these up.
Sure.
All right. Let's see. Cheers.
Cheers.
It's a little like, you know that meme where it's like seltzers are a little bit like drinking like electricity?
Yeah.
It's a little bit like that, but it's actually not bad.
Yeah. 5%. And it's like, I brought a bunch of these to my college once. Me and one buddy stayed there for like a full day. It was rainy, unfortunately. It was like last summer. 24 of these. We both crushed 12. Woke up the next day, not hungover at all.
Really?
So
okay.
I was cool with that, even though they are 5%, but we felt great.
Yeah? Okay, not bad.
Yeah, so I can't complain.
Okay, so what I wanted to bring you on about is you have a wealth of knowledge when it comes to martial arts and stuff like that. So tell the audience and a little bit to me too, how do you kind of get into martial arts?
Well, this all goes back to my childhood.
All right, let's see.
I had a very difficult childhood. I'm not sure. No, my parents put me in Taekwondo when I was like 6.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up in Markham, and there was a school down the street from me, and they put me in there. Actually, they put me in there because I was getting bullied in my new school.
Mm-hmm.
Put me in there, teach me discipline, help me defend myself a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I was terrible at all other sports. Yeah. So, and I wasn't a very active kid. Mm-hmm. Didn't grow up that way. Loved video games. Loved to draw. Still love video games. Don't love to draw as much. Okay, unfortunately, I wish I kept that skill. But yeah, they got me in that, and I wasn't really consistent with like other sports. I wasn't good at them. Wasn't good at Taekwondo for a lot either. But they forced me to stay in it because I wasn't doing other sports.
Mm-hmm.
Lucky me, because eventually I found the passion for it. Got up to my 3rd degree black belt, actually, became a teacher.
Mm-hmm. What do you remember the school? Or?
It was Luke's Taekwondo, Bullock and Laidlaw in Markham.
Are they still around?
Yeah, they're still around. Nice. I haven't been there in a long time, but I think they're still around. Great school. Honestly, it didn't teach me much for defending myself, but it did a great job teaching me like discipline, because it was just repetition of patterns, techniques, and all this stuff, and helped me out in school a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I learned how to like practice and be consistent with things, and like again, going over things again and again and again until you can get it down packed. And I took that to school and studied hard and did pretty well. I did that all through high school up until I was 18, where I found more of a passion for fitness. I started lifting more weights. And a buddy of mine, oh my God, where was I working? Oh my God, I was working at No Frills and I hated it.
Yeah, I think everybody works at No Frills.
Yeah, it's probably a rite of passage as a kid. But yeah, I was 18. I was in first year university in psychology because I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. So everyone goes to psychology.
Yeah.
Where let me tell you, C's get degrees couldn't be more accurate when I was in university.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I would study, get a C. Wouldn't study, get a C. So I did not study.
And I just kept it consistent.
And I got C's.
Yeah, that's all right.
Sorry, Mom and Dad. I apologize for
it's all right.
So much money. No, when I was 18, a buddy of mine went to this gym in Markham that taught Muay Thai. And I was curious. So went to a class, and I'm telling you, I was hooked.
Yeah.
Because I started to fall out of love with Taekwondo because I was mostly teaching it versus doing it. So I needed something new. and got right into that. And I started and never looked back. And I didn't know I was competitive until maybe 2 years later. I think I was 20 when my coach was like, hey, well, first of all, he asked me to start teaching the kids again. So I was like, went back into teaching. Every martial art that I've done, I've become a teacher in it.
That's
in
awesome.
some way. And he was like, one day I was like, hey, do you want to fight? And without even thinking about it, like, I said yes, which is funny because my mom was like, just don't fight. And I was like, Mom, I'm not interested in fighting. I just want to get in good shape.
Yeah. Discipline.
Yeah. Sorry, Mom. Yeah. And as soon as he asked me, like, this competitive person that I didn't know was there just sprung out, and I never looked back.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I still train, at that gym, myself, like 10 years later, which is crazy. I train a lot of the guys there who are up and coming, like for their first fights, and just getting them in better shape, whether they just want to get in shape or they actually want to go for their like next fights. I do their conditioning programming for them. Yeah, it's been a ride. Like they became a family for me, and some of my best friends were from that gym, and that gym kind of really sparked my passion for fitness because I was teaching there, working at No Frills, eventually worked at Volkswagen cleaning cars. Didn't know what I wanted to do for 3 years university until I realized that teaching was what made me happy. So I actually ended up going to George Brown College for fitness and health promotion for 2 years. And that's how I transitioned into like just becoming like a personal trainer and fitness coach. And with a martial arts specialization. That was a long way of saying I did Taekwondo as a kid.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite questions to ask fighters and martial artists is, so do you consider yourself a fighter or a martial artist?
I definitely go for martial artist, lifelong martial artist. My competitive career wasn't the greatest. Like I was a better teacher than I was a fighter. Like I was by all means athletic. I trained really hard. I trained harder than most people. I just had a rough go in my like amateur career. But I made a lot of the guys who had more natural abilities look really good in the ring. And I kind of transitioned to there. But I still love the training. I still love the competing. I still love getting better. I love learning. So yeah, in that sense, I consider myself more like the martial artist versus the fighter because I just wasn't the best fighter. I was good, but I'm no Diego.
Yeah. Okay. Shout out to Diego.
Yeah.
Natural freak. So yeah, he is. So your first fight.
Yeah.
How was that training camp? And how did you, when you trained, what do you change now? Or what have you changed the way you trained?
The nutrition. For sure. Like my problem was never working hard. I was always the hardest worker in the gym. I was consistent with my running, hitting pads, sparring. Like I trained hard. I knew what to do. I knew how to work hard. But my first few fights where I didn't learn the nutrition, because you're an amateur fighter, you don't have access to like a professional nutritionist, or if you're me, you don't really know how to cook like at all. Yeah. Still don't. Yeah. Shout out to my fiance for feeding me.
That's all right.
Love you, Amanda. That was my goal. That was my goal to get her in there.
To get in.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah, it's done. It's no more. Yeah. And I didn't know much about like, macronutrients, calories, protein intake, what you should be eating. I just literally probably just ate oatmeal and chicken and rice.
Chicken, broccoli, rice, baby. Chicken, broccoli, rice.
Which is the easiest thing to do if you are trying to like lose weight. But if you want to like look good in the ring and have energy, only that is not going to be enough. And you kind of run out of like things to do. As I learned more about it, I went from having like my worst ever weight cuts to my like best weight cuts because I figured out like the actual balance, and I use an app to check my calories. Not everyone does that. It works for me. But yeah, like in terms of the actual like camp, for me, like the biggest thing was how to fuel yourself to lose weight while not starving yourself. Yeah. Because a lot of us to this day, still a lot of fighters starting out, like they just don't know how to do it. And they go onto that scale like dead because we don't have that 24 hours that pros do between weigh-in and fight.
What's the time frame?
It depends on when you fight. Like the weigh-ins, my last one that I remember, the weigh-ins were at 1 p.m., which when you're working with amateur like leagues, the officials are usually late. So they say 1, it's usually like 2 and you're hungry.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. And you're like the last one to go. And then depending what fight you are on the card, you're fighting a couple hours later, right? And you might not have time to refuel, rehydrate.
What did you do to refuel and hydrate? Because some people have like gummy bears. Some people like it changes, right?
Yeah, I think it changes. I've never been a fan of like gummy bears, and especially after like 6 to 8 weeks of like not eating them, it just might upset your stomach and just sit there. I literally made like 2 bagel sandwiches with like peanut butter and honey and banana and just destroyed those. And I had like more chicken and rice because like I needed the protein and carbs to get me through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, my last fight, we drove all the way to Stratford for it. And we had a couple hours between weigh-ins, and because my fight was the 8th out of like the 12. So we actually went to go see like a matinee of like the original Suicide Squad at like this small theater in Stratford.
So you're getting prepared for a fight. You're like, oh, let's go watch a movie before.
I was like, well, we were in Stratford coming from Markham. We didn't know what else to do for like 6 hours. I'm like, well, I'm not going to hang around here.
Yeah.
Especially because at the venue all day, you just get more anxious. So just try to get into like a zen zone, watching a movie with explosions, gets you ready to kill.
That's fair. That's fair. So, okay. Your first fight, did you win?
No, I did.
You had to think about that for a second.
No, I was thinking about like they were pretty close together.
Okay.
The first fight, no, I came up short. It was a really close fight. I got out clinched under Muay Thai rules, so that was fair, but it was super close. It could have gone either way. The guy was hometown guy. Shout out to him. He put on a good fight that night. And it was a great learning experience though. Like I had a great performance. I knew what I had to work on, and I was in the gym the next day, just kind of get my head off the loss and feel good about training still, feel good about being in shape. No complaints there, but well, I would like to win. That's for sure.
We all like to win.
Yeah, first fight was a loss, but I learned from it so fast.
That's all right. So when you're in the ring, first fight, the bell rings. What was like the first thought that comes in your mind? Was it like, oh shit, here we go?
This is actually my favorite part about being like in the back part of a fight / least favorite as well, because here's what everyone asks me, like, what goes through your head?
Yeah.
And this is what I say. You're in the back room. There might be a fight going on already. There might be people warming up, and you're not getting warmed up yet because maybe you're a little bit later on. And this thought goes into my head. What the fuck am I doing? Can I swear?
Yeah, of course
Sweet.
you can.
What the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah.
Like I'm an amateur fighter. Like I got work later.
That's when the doubts kind of come in your head. Did I train this?
Yeah, not even that. Like I knew I trained. Like that was never a problem. It was just like, what the hell am I doing here? Like this is stupid. Like I'm not going pro.
Yeah.
Like what if I get hurt?
Yeah.
I get nothing from this.
Yeah.
And then you start getting warmed up. You kind of like push those voices back as far as you can. They're still there. Then, it's your turn. They call your name. You walk out, and I shit you not, as soon as you step under the ropes and the lights are on you and you can't see outside of the ring, just this flush of just like, you can't hear a thing anymore.
Really?
And it just like, all you hear is like, oh, this is why I'm here. Right? Like, it's just like this weird feeling of just like all those doubts just leave. And like you can't go anywhere now. You're in the ring. Yeah. People see you.
You can't walk away.
Yeah. And you just think like, well, I guess we're doing this.
Yeah.
And then bell rings, and you're just like, well, I got to go hit that guy.
Yeah. And that guy has to hit me.
And hopefully not let him hit me.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, the fight's over.
How long were the rounds? How many rounds?
Amateur rules were 3 2-minute rounds, which still felt long.
It's funny because 2 minutes in a fight probably feels like 5-10 minutes because so many things are happening.
Unless you're winning, then it goes by real fast.
Yeah,
because having fun.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So didn't get your hand raised.
Yeah.
What was your first thoughts there?
Well, first of all, it was like, shit.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
But then like opponent congratulated me. I congratulated him. Everyone said, great job. That was a great fight. I wasn't injured. It was super close. So everyone was making me feel like really good about it. I was more so just like, shit, I'm ready to go again, like right now, because the adrenaline was still there. So I was in the gym the next day, just like kind of getting my head right, feeling good about that. But immediately, because like I said, I got out clinched in that fight, I knew that like I didn't want that to happen again. So I went back in there and I started working that like a lot more, like working the Muay Thai clinch, working the moves, working the strength in that position. Because that was the only thing that was wrong. My conditioning was on point. I was sharp. I didn't get hit that much. I just got out clinched. I got swept a couple of times. And technically those aren't worth any points, like getting swept, but it looks good.
Yeah.
Um,
And judges like to see that.
yeah, it throws you off because you have to get up constantly.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's what really gave him the win. And
Mhm.
again, kudos to him. He was great in the clinch.
Mhm.
Yeah, my goal was just like, okay, how do I not let this happen
Mhm.
ever again?
Mhm. So when you came back, got your head together, you knew automatically, it was like, I got to book the next fight.
Yeah.
Is that the way you felt?
Yes, which I thought I was going to be able to do, but then that year I was starting college for fitness and health, and which I thought was going to be like, okay, cool. I'll be in the fitness like field at school. There's going to be a gym. I'll work out, whatever. That was not the case. School takes up all of your time, even though you are in fitness. So plus, because I was commuting from Markham to Toronto, so not only was my commute super long, I was there for long days. Campus food is never good, even though you're in like the health building of Georgia Brown College.
Yeah.
It's still like, oh, look, there's healthy fruits. It's like covered in sugar.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I decided to focus on school. My parents were paying for it, obviously, so didn't want to waste more of their money like I did in university.
Yeah.
I focused on that. And then I did that. So I waited that full like school year, right until my second fight, which was a provincial tournament. Now that one was my worst weight cut because I had gained weight in school. So I had to go from like my heaviest of 192 to 165 in like 3 weeks.
Oh my God.
That was the worst. So technically, even though I learned more about it, it wasn't enough by that point because I was like, well, I have 3 weeks. I got nothing. So let's just starve yourself and train. And that was pretty much it. I made the weight.
Did you win?
Unfortunately, no, because again, actually, this one was controversial because everyone thought that I won. It was one of those things that
it can go either way.
It can go either way. Absolutely. Yeah. So too bad. So sad. I lost, but man, that was bad because the officials for that weigh-in, because there was like a bunch of gyms there, like 100 fighters waiting to get weighed in. One scale.
Oh my gosh. Like, so how long did that take?
Well, they were like 3 hours late, first of all. And then my gym was the last to be called. So yeah, we got there at like 6 p.m. It was like day before weigh-ins because it was a tournament, luckily. But we got there at like 6 for the weigh-ins. I wasn't weighed in until like 9:30 probably. I felt like my stomach was eating itself. So by the next day, I felt better, but it was just, it became out to like just could have gone either way, and it didn't go mine, unfortunately.
And so when that time, did you feel like it pushed you to work harder, or was there more self-doubt after that second loss?
There was a fair balance. I feel like because all my losses, were so close.
Yeah, is it because they're so close? Do you feel like, okay, I'm there. There's one more thing I have to figure out. Like, I'm there. You're touching greatness. You're almost there, but you're like, okay, what do I have to do to get this?
Exactly. And I think it was just that. I was like, okay, listen, my work ethic is great. Obviously, I can always work a little bit harder.
Yeah.
But there's something that I'm missing that they're just getting the best of me at. What is it and how do I fix it? So really, it was never that discouraging. It was just like, okay, I'm almost there. I just got to keep working a little bit harder and focus on what I'm weaker at.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. And I went back in the gym. I've never had a problem getting back into the gym after training. You hear about all these guys, amateur or pro, that like take months off after their fights and get fat and have to get back into it. I've always been a fan of stay ready, and stay healthy. Cause that like constant flux, if you go like that yo-yo style, where it's like you train hard and then stop, like it's a yo-yo, and you don't want that. That way you're never getting better. You're just getting good, getting worse again, then trying to get back to that. I'd rather just constantly progress overall.
Yeah, that's ideal. Okay, so when you won your first fight, when you won your first fight.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
It felt like,
I did it.
It felt like the work finally paid off in that case, and I ended up with a record of 8 wins, 3 losses.
That's your amateur?
Yeah.
Okay.
I never went pro. Yeah. I knew off the bat, based on like performances and all stuff, that I wasn't going to be pro. Because you see guys like Diego again.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's a pro.
Yeah.
I was okay being an amateur fighter, just doing it for, I guess the pictures and the stories, and getting my name out there and like just coaching people, right? Like I knew, plus you hear about like even the pro guys like Simon Marcus and Joe, like they're fighting in glory and getting paid not that great. I'm like, okay, how about I fight for fun sometimes.
Yeah.
Not that much.
Mm-hmm.
Get paid to not get hit in the face.
Yeah, that'd be ideal.
And yeah, that was just how it worked out for me. And I knew like I wasn't going to be quite on those guys' level, but I still wanted to compete, and I still want to train. Like I train every day.
Yeah, for the rest of your life, you're gonna train martial arts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the way I see it too for myself. Okay, so 8-3. I'm assuming you're not. Are you fighting ever again?
So
is this a spoiler thing? Are you gonna fight again? You're announcing it today? No.
I would love to.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence right now. So I was gonna fight in April of 2020, but we all know what happened the month before is the world shut down.
Yeah.
So that was a kick because I had gone on like my last fight was my third loss. Actually, I went really well through that. I went, and then my third loss, I actually rematched the guy that I thought lost in my first fight.
Really?
And unfortunately, he beat me again.
Okay, son of a bitch.
I know. It was again his gym hosted the events, kind of a hometown thing. I'm not bitter about it at all.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah, but what I will say is that everyone, including him, thought that I won that fight. Like he thought that he lost.
That's almost more of a win.
Yeah.
You know?
Like I mentally broke him at that point. Again, he put up a great fight. It was obviously close enough that the judges could have given it to him. That's on me. I should have finished it or just dominated.
The judges, yeah.
But that was my first fight without headgear, and that was so much fun.
Yeah?
Oh
why?
my God.
Why?
Well, you actually get hit less because you're a smaller target and you're more aware, and the sweat doesn't stay in your headgear.
I feel too with the headgear, like it can be almost suffocating. Cause it's very like this, and without headgear, it's a little bit more dangerous, but you feel more flowy. Yeah. You can really like understand the punches, everything a lot better.
You're more aware of your surroundings cause you have better peripherals and your head can breathe. Cause literally it's like basically hotboxing your head.
100%.
The sweat stays there. And that's why they took it out of the amateur boxing for Olympics.
I didn't know that.
At least they took it out, I think in 2016. For men, for some reason, not the women. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Well, the world is weird that way, unfortunately.
It's a little sexist, but whatever.
Seriously, because those female boxers can kick my ass. Have you seen them go? Like,
yeah, I have actually.
They're good.
Yeah, they're really good.
I think it's just they're a little bit behind on the times for that. But yeah, scientific proven. You actually, the headgear doesn't really protect you that much. You actually get hit a little bit more because you're just literally a bigger target. Even if you like slip a punch, the headgear's out here. You might get conked a little bit, right? That's still an impact. So it saves you. And yeah, after like that no headgear fight, I just never wanted to go back to a headgear fight ever again.
That's fair.
Because it was so much fun.
So what would you say your best attributes as a fighter is? Like mine, like God gifted me with speed and cardio.
Cardio for sure for me.
Yeah.
I wish I could say speed. I am unfortunately not fast.
Diego tells me though, you got a heavy leg kick.
Yes.
Heavy leg kick.
Yes. So the years of Taekwondo, because Taekwondo is almost zero punches.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's mostly,
pretty much.
It's just all kicks, right? Or only punches to the body because they have those chest protectors, in professional or Olympic Taekwondo. So 12 years of that. My kicks are like my attribute. Like I can kick you faster than I can punch you. Absolutely. My punches are literally designed to do one thing, and that's set up a kick. Yeah. Like I could not be a boxer because I would just get destroyed. I've got heavy leg kicks. I can kick really high from really close. And I can kick fast. At least for that, my punches are super slow and not that powerful.
Yeah, it's okay.
But my lower body's where it's at, and I got great cardio, and I'm not afraid to get in there and brawl it out if I have to. Yeah. And I'm willing to see the weaknesses and expose them.
That's good.
Like at least the reason the second time I fought that guy who beat me the first time, he did not outclinch me the second time. I can tell you that much. I'm able to adapt really fast to what I have to do and get better at it. That's probably my best feature, and my willingness to like learn. Like I model myself off of George St. Pierre. He's been my hero since I started watching.
Yeah, he's still I don't care about Kamaru Usman. GSP is still my welterweight champ.
He's 100% the GOAT, man.
Usman is still like, listen, he's a champ. Like he's the newer breed, but GSP is like, he lives and breathes like martial arts 100%. Yes. Like to go back to what you said before, like at that time, what made him different with a lot of people was, exactly what you said is like some fighters, when they stop fighting, they would relax and whatever. And then it's like, okay, it's fight camp. Every time the GSP won, he'd just go back to training. Yeah. And he would just constantly learn.
He would go, he flew to Thailand with John Danaher and got off the plane to the gym, not even the hotel. Like his mentality, inspired me. And actually watching his videos on YouTube of him training is actually what got me into being more of like the conditioning coach. Because at first I would just like, as a 18-year-old kid, I was like, well, what do I have to lift weights for?
Yeah.
What do I have to do all this other stuff for? Like, obviously everyone knows battle ropes for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But I was like, he's doing sprinting, he's lifting weights, he's doing gymnastics.
Yeah. Everything.
He's doing all this stuff. I'm like, okay, obviously he's the greatest of all time. I have to do all this stuff too. And that's what got me into like different modalities of training. It kind of was got me into like doing Spartan races and all that stuff as well. So he technically opened my eyes to like conditioning, lifting, and other types of training outside of martial arts, which only elevates your martial arts game. So
100%.
Again, shout out to George St. Pierre, even though he's probably never going to hear this.
Never going to hear it. But shout out to you guys, GSP. I love you.
Yeah, he's the greatest.
Yeah, he is definitely the greatest. So your last fight, the 8th fight, did you know, like, what you going in there, did you was like, okay, this is my last one? Or
No.
even possibly last one?
No. The last one that I lost, I guess would technically be my 11th fight. Yeah. I didn't think it was going to be my last one. Because that was the summer that I went back to school for my second year of college. And I had every intention of finishing school and like getting a job in a gym, establishing myself there and getting back into training. Thinking that like, okay, you work in a gym. Training is easy. As you probably know, that's not almost never the case.
No, train's hard.
You become a trainer before you become an athlete, and you're at the gym 8 hours a day with 8 hours. Who am I kidding? 9 to 10 hours a day, 12 maybe with all clients. By the time you're done, you're too tired to train and just want to get out of the gym. The gym is no longer your
sanctuary.
Yeah, it's your job.
Yeah,
and not that ever stopped me from like training, but yeah,
it's hard though because you're like, okay, I've been here for 10 hours. Yeah, the last thing I want to do is push myself because especially with training too. I don't know if you find this also, but it's very underrated in the sense of like it's our job to make sure to give them the motivation and the energy constantly to push themselves forward. Cause they're, without sounding rude, they're not like us where it's like, this is a huge passion most of the time. So like we have to show them like it can be your passion, and we show them how good they are at certain things that when, it gets exhausting. Right? Yes. After 10 people.
It's giving, right? giving.
And at the end, it's like, what do you have left for yourself? And then, like, most of the times you're okay, this is what we're going to do for myself. And this is my moment. But it's hard. Yeah. It's exhausting because the way I describe it is like, that to people, I'm like, when you don't want to go to the gym and you have to put up all that energy to get into the gym, we have to give that to like 10 people in a row. Or whatever in that day. And then whatever we have left, we have to give it back to ourselves. And that's hard.
And you're probably hungry at that point too, because you probably didn't have time to eat. Yeah. And I let myself fall into this rut of being a coach and trainer only versus like being healthy for myself. And there was a point where I didn't train for like weeks on end because I was just busy every single day. Yeah. And on my day off, I didn't want to go. I let that take over because from 2016, when my last fight was, I didn't fight. I sparred still every now and then. I got into a bad rut with the job I was at. No, I shouldn't say the job was great, but I got into a bad rut with like being so busy that I didn't train. And, I was like, okay, I have to get out of this situation. I tried to book a fight, right? That was April 2020. And then, cause it had been 4 years since I had fought. I was like, that can't be the way I go out on a loss.
You had an itch.
Yeah. Can't be the way I go. So I booked it. I was getting ready. I was trying to figure out my schedule, all that stuff. COVID hit. And then I had access to a gym when gyms were all closed. So I was able to get back into training regularly, realized how much I missed it. So now I organize my schedule around where I can train and base that around where my clients can go. So that's the biggest thing for all like newer coaches. Like don't let yourself skip out your own workout because of a client wants to come, right? Like it's still your time and you gotta like walk the walk before you can tell people what to do.
That's true.
That was huge for me. I also realized I was burnt out when I stopped working because of COVID.
Yeah.
I was like, a couple of days afterwards, I was like, feel good. What's this? Oh, normal. Oh, interesting.
This is how it should feel.
This is how people feel like all the time? this is nice. That's huge.
Have you ever tried like jits and wrestling? You ever dived into that, and have you ever wanted to dive into before like MMA or stand up was more like your thing?
Because with Taekwondo, stand up was always my thing. I always loved Muay Thai. I have done a lot of jiu-jitsu. I have done a lot of wrestling. I don't pick them up as fast. And I wasn't as consistent with jiu-jitsu because it was so late at my gym. I'd already done conditioning in Muay Thai. So I never got into it too much. I did every now and then. But the lessons I was so inconsistent with that I didn't really learn much. I was consistent with wrestling on a weekly basis at this job with my, shout out to my boy Farshad, who's an Iranian wrestling national champion who is just a freak, also a Olympic lifter.
Oh, shit.
He helped me train a lot of wrestling stuff on a weekly basis up until COVID started. And then I think grappling got hit the hardest in terms of martial arts with COVID because you're just so in each other's faces.
Yeah, they still did it.
They still did it. Yeah.
I know a guy. He basically what they did was they just put papers up.
Oh yeah,
and they just kept on rolling.
Every martial arts gym in the history of gyms did that basically. But I feel like people were more willing to get back into doing pads and sparring versus grappling.
Yeah, that is true though.
Depends on what your passion.
I mean, jits is it's pretty much mouth to mouth. You're in there.
You're getting close. You're smelling armpits for sure.
Yeah. The worst is when you roll with a guy and you can clearly tell he doesn't shower.
Yeah, or doesn't wash his gi.
Oh my God, if he doesn't wash his gi, it's really frustrating.
Yeah. That's why I liked, I picked up wrestling a little bit more because it wasn't necessarily staying with somebody that long. It was just hand fighting and then being explosive for a takedown. And when you land a good takedown,
it feels good.
It feels pretty good.
Yeah, I love wrestling because those guys are animals for their cardio. They're machines. But I find most guys who wrestle, the amount of injuries that they have is unreal. Back, knees, hip.
You're so hinged over and contorted for such a long period of time because their starting position is so low. And I think around here we have it in the wrong way where everyone here wrestles hard all the time. Whereas if you go check out the Russians, how they do it, they go very, very light for long periods of time. They get all this volume. They don't hurt themselves. They just go easy.
Well, it's the same thing with Muay Thai.
Oh yeah.
Muay Thai, it's tag for them. It's fun. They train for you go to Thailand, they train forever.
Yeah. They don't spar hard over there.
No, they to the body, but the super light to the head.
Yeah.
Super light. And they just kind of touch and they just have fun with it.
They drill their power on the pads and the bags.
Yeah. That's when they go hard.
They play spar.
Yeah.
And that's why their careers are so long. They start when they're 7.
I know. When you're 8 or 9, the kids have 80 fights?
Yeah. There's people, I remember watching Glory and this guy was 2 years younger than me from Thailand. And I'm just oh, what's his record? 105 wins with 12 losses. I was doing the math. That's a lot of, you fight once a week.
But they do sometimes fight once a week or even once a night, every night or two times a night. And, it's crazy, but they're exactly what you said. Their longevity though is so long, and it's kind of it's sad because I have a little bit of debate sometimes with my friend who's loves jiu-jitsu, and jiu-jitsu guys usually don't really like Muay Thai guys because they're CTE and all this stuff. But those guys have such a long lifespan as a fighter because they don't really actually go that hard. Yeah. So.
Exactly. Well, I think that's where we have it wrong here. Everyone for
that's
here,
ego though, man.
It's ego.
It's ego.
Yeah.
Whenever I saw a funny meme. You like Marvel, right?
I love Marvel.
Okay, so when they go to see Black Panther in Infinity War, and he says, "Oh, do I bow?" And he's yeah. He's bow, and then he bows, and then T'Challa's we don't do that here.
We don't do that here.
So it's funny. I saw a meme for when you go walk into Muay Thai gym and you start throwing spinning elbows and back kicks. Says we don't do that here. We don't but there's a lot of have you ever had that kind of instance in sparring where it's the guy goes complete ego and tries to get you down?
Absolutely. There's been a couple of occasions. Most of the time it's with the newer guys who might be a little bit smaller than me. They feel like they've got something to prove and they're nervous.
Sorry to interrupt you, but sometimes also that's just adrenaline for the new guys. They don't know how to go, right? They think they have to go all the way, and you're we're having fun here.
Exactly.
Right?
It's a learning experience. They don't want to win sparring. So for the new guys, it's more acceptable because you're so new, it's scary. I find, but there was one time I went to a gym. I'm not going to name anybody, obviously, but
you can tell me after the podcast.
Yeah. It's don't go there. Yeah, they had a bunch of experienced guys, more experienced than me, and I felt like they were trying to take my head off.
Really?
Yeah, it was just like, it became like, it wasn't like a sparring day. It was like, which gym is the best? And I'm just like, I'm gonna get, and I'm not talking like guys who weren't smaller, guys who are bigger than me, more experienced than me. I'm just like,
See, that's just an asshole though.
I'm just like, what is happening right now? Like, I was like, I did a couple rounds. I'm like, I'm good. I want to go home.
Yeah.
Screw this.
And there's a difference. Like some days, like you go in with a certain partner, you're like, hey man, like I'm down to go a little bit harder today. Are you down?
Yeah.
And there's that communication.
100%.
Right. But that has to be on both sides.
Yeah. That's when you have like, you've got like one of your best friends. Like I've got this guy, named Jackson. He lives in Ottawa now. He's been my best friend for years. One of my original sparring partners. When we spar, it's like, it's fun. And like, we kind of go for it because we know what the other person can handle and we know how to control ourselves. Right. But that's been like 8 years of us sparring like once a week, like for rounds and rounds, just the two of us. Right. That's building that like rapport almost. So when it's your first time with a new person, it's like, feel it out first. Don't just like kill the guy. And like, you don't know this guy. There's like, he's not causing a problem. It's like, it becomes almost like territorial. It's like, oh, you're in my gym. I'm going to kick your ass. I'm like, I just came here to get better.
Yeah, I just can't. Yeah, that's true. And I find too, like sometimes when there's like a new guy, there's almost like it's tough because in some gyms, it's like, okay, they want to test them, but there's a certain amount of testing that you need to do because you don't want to deter them from coming back. Yeah. But at the same time, you want to show them like this, because at the end of the day, if you want to fight, there's a hard reality you have to understand. Like, you can't go into a fight or you can't go into sparring thinking you'll never get hit. If you think you'll never get hit, you're already mentally like you're done. Right? You're going to go in, you're going to get hit, but the good thing is just smile and go with it. Yeah. Right? So
I think that's also a mentality to discover like that first sparring session.
Yeah.
My first sparring session, I got cracked a couple of times for sure. My third sparring session, my first time getting dropped with a body shot by a guy who was a pro who just didn't care how new I was to the game. Yeah. But I also I stuck around. Not everyone does. I think you have to have that.
There's a different kind of thing you have to have to continue with
I believe it's called a little bit of crazy.
Yeah.
You have to be a little unhinged to keep coming back to that. Where it was like, maybe you got like a bruised eye, a bloody nose. I'm like, yeah, I'll come back.
Yeah, I'll see you next Tuesday.
Yeah, this happens every week. Okay, yeah, sign me up. I'll be there.
I remember when you were sparring with here with Diego, and I think he like a spinning back kick or something. Oh. And you just smiled, and I remember you're just like, woo! And you literally just went forward, and Diego's like, oh shit, okay. And you just push it. And there's that resilience that you have, right?
Yeah, and that's due to just like not wanting to get dropped by a body shot ever again because of that third time. But although, again, shout out to Diego. That was probably the cleanest back kick I've ever been hit with.
He's really good at that though.
Yeah, because most guys in a Muay Thai scene will see it in the UFC or on Instagram and want to try it, but not know how to do it. Diego also was built up a Taekwondo, and that's a regular kick. So I've never, I'm telling you, he placed it like directly under my belly button. And I'm just like, I almost like keeled over. I'm just like, oh, damn, that was a good one. Like I've been hit with them before, mostly like on the arm or maybe a upper stomach.
You've shielded them, but you still feel the impact.
On the arm or at least upper abs. Like that was like the perfect spot where it's like, that's where you want to like land it. And he did it. And I was like, that's how a pro does it.
It's tough.
But yeah, like you said, like I took it and went like, no, don't show them your no. I have a good poker face. What I meant to say. Don't show them.
I have a good poker face. Yeah,
I've got a poker face.
That's all right. So with what I wanted to dive into with you is what do you think about all these places like 9 rounds and stuff? I'm calling them out, but whatever. What do you think about all these 9 rounds and stuff like that? Because I find some places they don't really teach the fundamentals of it, and it's more cardio, and it kind of gives some people a false idea of how to defend themselves, or a false idea. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, I actually worked at a 9 round for maybe a year and a half when I was in college, because I happened to stumble upon, there's actually one in Aurora, and Diego replaced me maybe 2 months after I had left that place, funny enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how we kind of
got into
knew each other kind of thing. Yeah,
I'm not saying 9 rounds is the only. I'm not saying 9 rounds is the only one. I'm just saying there's some places that are more cardio-esque when it comes to boxing or kickboxing, and I find with martial arts, you like have fun, but it has to be some serious training in the sense of fundamentals.
Absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. There's places like I Love Kickboxing and 9 Round that they, as long as they don't market themselves as like a martial arts gym or a kickboxing gym or like a self-defense gym, I'm okay with it. Like they need to market themselves as like, this is a weight loss facility and you will use kickboxing as your means of getting your cardio in.
Activity.
I'm fine with that. It's your activity. And I've seen the places work wonders for people and they love it. But yeah, if some people think that now they can go into a ring and box somebody because they do 30 minutes a day and like 3 rounds of pads with a guy who doesn't know how to hold pads.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to basically teach a lot of the staff members that I was there with how to hold pads properly.
Yeah. So, okay. To add to that a little bit, I've seen some videos. I'm like, I don't know. Cause it's dangerous, man. If you're teaching these people, you're giving these people, false confidence in certain things. And like self-defense is like a dangerous thing to be in. And if you don't know how to do it, like to parry, to block properly, something bad can really happen to you. And you can put yourself in a bad situation. I've seen, I have 2 people who, went to a kickboxing place and then we train a little bit and it's like, it's crazy because I'm like, the first things you learn is how to block and how to parry, how to do all these things. And these people didn't know how to do that. No. So I'm like, I don't understand what you're doing then. You know what I mean?
Again, like, it's like people at 9 Round, the trainers typically probably don't even know how to do it themselves. They just know, punch this, hit this faster, go as fast as you can, get a sweat on, right? And if you're just doing for weight loss, you don't need to learn how to block in that scenario. I mean, do you need to learn how to block? Absolutely. Yes, you do. But when it's for weight loss, no one thinks about that. And then it's developed this like terrible culture. And I had this conversation with Diego, when I saw him last, where it's like, if you want to post something, go ahead, but make it look good. And all you see on Instagram these days is like boxing coaches, like, a Jimmy _ boxing coach who's never had a fight in his life. And his client has his hands by his waist, like not even blocking his face, throwing these big haymakers, doing a long combo. Sure, they drilled for like 10 minutes and got it right. But the parries are wrong. The punches don't look good. Is the guy getting his cardio in? Absolutely he is. But he's not getting as much of a benefit as he would be if he had the right technique. To go about answering your actual question, 9 Round, all those places.
We should probably stop saying 9 Rounds. I'm not trying to target 9 Rounds. I'm just saying in general.
I know. We're going to get so sued. It's a big company. There's like 500 locations across the states.
We won't release this podcast.
They're everywhere. Yeah, just burn it to the ground.
No, we're not talking about 9 Rounds. I'm just saying in general, there's some places.
Yeah, and there could be individual coaches as well, right? Like
that's true.
Who just hold pads for clients. Like they need to be trained first before they can hold pads for anybody. And actually teach the fundamentals. Yeah, you absolutely need the fundamentals. Even if it is for a workout, I always say this to my clients. Sure, maybe your first few sessions won't be that good for you because it's slow. But once you get these fundamentals down, you'll flow better. And therefore, that 3-minute round you'll be hitting for is going to be way more efficient for you. And you're going to get a better workout in the long run, right? Because expending energy in the wrong places, not being able to defend yourself, and even just long combos, if you flow better, again, you're getting a better workout. It looks better if you put it on Instagram and you get a better workout. Simple as that.
No, you're right. You're 100% right. So, I want to ask too, when you were training for your camps, what was your supplementation like?
It's pretty much the same as it is now. I take a greens powder in the morning. Which one? Either I go to Bulldog typically get my stuff. So
which one?
The one in Vaughan. I moved to Vaughan a while ago. I used to go to Markham, and I go to the one in Vaughan because it's across the street from my condo.
Fair enough.
I can like walk there.
Yeah.
I don't, but
okay.
Like the street is terrible. I would get killed. Either they have one from I think Believe supplements that I like, and the other one is from TC Nutrition.
Okay.
The other one would be like All Max Cyto Greens, but that one tastes terrible. So
yeah. I'm not a fan of All Max personally.
Yeah, I haven't really had anything except for the Cyto Greens.
Okay, so greens. What else?
Greens because I don't get enough fruits and veggies in my day. I really don't. I take all of my B12, vitamin D, vitamin C, a multivitamin just to make sure I'm good. And then for the most part, it's just like a post-workout protein powder. Right now I'm using I kind of go through whatever is kind of there that I like based on flavor and what's available. I've taken like, right now I'm taking, no, sorry. Oh yeah, I have one from Perfect Sports. I think we've had Bazooka 20 for a discount.
Oh my God, there's Bazooka 20 for discount.
I don't affiliate with them, but
just being a good guy.
The code, yeah, massive boy. He's beaten me up a couple times. So is Mike. I have one from Axe and Sledge, which is like they partner up with Dippin' Dots. Funny enough.
Oh, I've had that.
Yeah, it's like I'm using the banana split flavored protein.
I've tried the strawberry one.
Yeah, I saw the two of them. Banana's always been a bigger fan of thing for me, so I got that one. It's really good. I got lucky. I actually won some stuff from Vital Performance off Instagram.
Okay.
And they're a collagen-based protein. I've always been a whey guy myself. Never liked vegan powder. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but the texture was always bad for me.
Yeah, it's hard to vegan protein powders. It's hard to mask that because it kind of gets a little sediment in the bottom.
Yeah,
so it's a little uncomfortable.
The texture wasn't my thing, and luckily I don't have an issue digesting whey, so I've always been good on that. And yeah, the collagen one's really good too. Good for your skin and gets the same effect. So. They have a cold brew coffee flavor. That's actually pretty good.
It's not that bad?
Yeah. And a regular chocolate one, which is always good. I'll either put that in my oatmeal for breakfast sometimes or after a workout, either one. But in terms of supplements, like nothing else other than that, really. I've actually never tried creatine.
Really? That's like the one thing like everybody tries. Well, guys try once.
I feel like when I was growing up as like just getting into lifting, everyone was on it.
Yeah.
And then it kind of got unpopular for a bit. And now recently it's come back.
Crazy. It's crazy. I was like, it's been here for like years.
It is the most researched supplement on the market.
Yeah.
I've personally never tried it because whenever I heard about it from like an actual professional, like a bodybuilder or someone who's been in the game for a long time, there's this whole thing about like a loading phase where you're going to be bloated and you got to measure out your things. And I'm like, I do not have the patience
to do that
for any of that. I'm just going to work out, eat properly, and have like my proteins. Although with this recent resurgence of creatine all over the place, it's been like in my head mostly because it's been appearing on my Instagram newsfeed again, where I'm just like, should I try it?
Yeah, I honestly take I don't do the loading phase. I don't do it at all. I take 5 grams a day and just wait for that saturation point because I think the saturation point is like 24,000 or something like that.
Okay.
Or 24. Yeah. And I just wait it out. I don't do that whole. Honestly, I don't find that I bloat either.
Really?
So maybe if some people do, that's fair. But I don't find that at all. There's been a lot of research on some neuro benefits from creatine too, as a nootropic. Okay. So it's been I don't know, try it out.
You know what? Maybe next time I'm running low on protein powder, so I'll probably have to go back again, and I'll probably try to pick some up. What have you heard about? There was this other thing. It was like a pill form, like alkaline or something like that.
Don't get wrapped up into all of that. Honestly, creatine is so simple.
Yeah.
It's just like creatine monohydrate. It's not expensive. Well, it's getting expensive now because it's hard because of the supply chain issues. Yeah. But just go straight with that.
All right.
Would they try to listen? Supplement companies, I like supplementation. I think is. I love it, and I think it can benefit so many people. But the problem is the marketers behind try to make it more fancy than it really is, right? Micronized creatine, slowly digestive creatine. It's like, you just need creatine.
Yeah. Or like the hydrolyzed whey protein powder, or the fast assimilation versus the slow assimilation. Like this one is good for eating, but this one's better for post-workout. It's the same freaking powder,
it's the
man.
Same thing. Yeah.
Just take it after a workout. You want to have a breakfast? Go right ahead.
Yeah. I agree. It's the exact same thing.
Just get a gram of protein for every per pound of body weight that you want to be. That's as simple as I can make it. And if powder helps, fantastic. I know some guys who haven't had a protein shake in 7 years and they're ripped.
Yeah, you don't need protein shakes for sure at all.
Yeah.
But
I do because I don't get enough protein.
Well, that's the thing. The people take advantage of supplement. That's what it's supposed to be. It's a supplement what you're not getting in your diet, right? People take advantage of it or like rely on it.
Yeah.
Right. So if you need, like, if you're eating in the day, okay, I have my 3 meals, 2 snacks, all these things, but I still need like 25 to 30 grams of protein. That's when the protein powder comes in, right? Don't try to take advantage of it.
And that's on like the marketers too. They're like prying on people's insecurities where 100%. It's like they're saying like, take this protein, take this creatine, take whatever. It's going to make you better. There is nothing in the world that's going to make you better other than your hard work and dedication and proper nutrition and sleep and recovery. Like there's no shoe, there's no pair of shorts, there's no supplement that will make, there's no glove, unfortunately, that will make you a better fighter other than your consistency.
Yeah.
And that's the trick to it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I want to ask you a question because we can kind of geek out a little bit about fighting. What do you think that McGregor has to do to get back into the winning column?
I think he has to go back to like the McGregor that started when he was like at least his mindset. When he came in, he was like on welfare, and his dad was like kicking his ass for like quitting being a plumber.
Yeah.
And now
it's hard
like,
to wake up though when you have like
absolutely.
like $100 million in the bank and
easily
sleeping in
like,
silk sheets.
Yeah, have your own yacht. Take your own yacht to the fights in Abu Dhabi. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah, you did do that.
Yeah.
That's kind of a G move though.
I mean,
if he won,
if we didn't bust his ankle.
Yeah.
That's not funny. I wish him a good recovery.
Oh jeez.
No, I think McGregor has to like. It's hard. It's like you're right. It's so hard, but Cub Swanson does it. Cub Swanson, as much as he's a great fighter, he has not repaired his car. His car doesn't have AC.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like he's in the mindset where it's like he still has to grind. His car is busted up. Maybe at least that's what I heard about him like a while ago. Who knows? Because he's had a kid since then. Maybe he's gone dad mode now. But like even when he was at top of his game in the division he was in, he was driving the same old car with no AC because that's how he kept his mind hard, for the lack of a better word. It's not going to be easy for Conor because again he is just so loaded right now. It is stupid.
And do you think that he's surrounded by yes men? Surrounded by like yes men who are like, oh, I don't want to train today. It's like, okay. Or hey, we're gonna stop today. It's like, okay.
I actually don't know what his posse's like, but I don't think that could be anything because look at Floyd Mayweather, who was like so loaded and he had everybody in his posse going yes, 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 but he would still go train, and they would just cheer him on all he was training, right? Like if McGregor doesn't want to train and he has guys who are just like, okay, that's fine. Like that's more on him. Sure, it doesn't help you to have people who are like-minded for sure. But I think Floyd could have done whatever he wanted to, and people would have said yes. But he's still in the gym hitting the bag for God knows how long.
That's true. He's still one of the greatest.
Absolutely,
boxmen on the
man.
world.
I wish I could move my head like that. Head movement's always been one of my weakest.
No,
things
Canelo,
too.
man. Canelo's head movement. I'm so jealous.
Floyd
of it.
beat Canelo.
I know, but I think Canelo could beat him now.
That I might agree with you.
Yeah, I think he could beat him now because he's so much of a different fighter, and he learned head movement from fighting Floyd.
That's fair.
And he's possibly better at head movement than Floyd
He might be.
now.
I mean, he did lose his last fight though.
I know, but he's facing Triple G.
He is now for the third time, right?
Third time.
Yeah.
I
mean, he's won twice, and Triple G is a beast.
Yeah, he's
so
an animal.
it's impressive that Canelo's beaten him twice.
Yeah.
They were both close.
Yeah, it was very close. Okay, so what I also wanted to get into with you is that you've been doing a little bit of endurance training, right? So you did the Goggins...
the 4x4x48.
So explain to the audience what that is.
You run 4 miles, which is 6.4 kilometers every 4 hours for 4 to 8 hours. I did it with a friend of mine who had done it once before. Because he was hosting it in California and we weren't going to go there. So we did it around the same time. Unfortunately, it was like February. And in Canada, it was not ideal.
No.
We experienced across the 2 days, every possible winter weather system we could have had. It was like snowy but warm. It was a full-on blizzard. It was hailing and raining. There was snow plows at like 2 in the morning because we started at like 6 a.m. It's like 6 a.m. we would run. You take like 4 miles takes you maybe like 45 minutes if you're at a good pace. Then you got like well over 3 hours to rest. So like 10 a.m. you go again, and then 2 p.m. so on and so forth up until you're done. That involves being out there at 6 a.m. or 2 a.m. sometimes, and waking up at 1:30 to go run in the snow and putting on all these like wet clothes and these wet shoes is not easy. It's the running wasn't hard. It was getting out there in the cold. Even though like your knees are sore and your ankles are sore and your shoes are wet, you don't want to do this.
Did you train into this or did you jump into it? Because you're actually you're a pretty good runner. I see your runs that you post.
Thank you.
You're pretty fast.
I'm a decent runner.
You have a good stride.
Thank you. I'm working on my gait. I see these actual runners who are like super fast and they get their heel almost to their ass every time they take a step.
That's crazy.
I'm trying to get that. I've got a good running mentoring now. At the time, I was running consistently, but not as much volume as I am now. I think if I was running like I am now, it would have been better in terms of like my knees and ankles being okay. But yeah, the running wasn't the issue. Like I said, I was able to go consistently for that amount of time. It ended up being like my knees were just like, man, this is a lot of running.
Yeah. So what point where you're like, where you, because there's always a point in like with running with long distance, it's like, okay, this is where I have to talk to myself to keep going.
It was probably after like the first 24 hours because like at first I haven't had knee pain on running in years, and it came back during that because
both knees or one,
just the right,
just the right.
Both would have sucked.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
Yeah, luckily I did the first few runs by myself, and then I had to go teach some classes. I took off and I went to Barrie actually to run it with my friend, at his place, and he had a route planned out, which is great. Luckily I also stole one of his knee braces and KT tape after that. So it kind of like held me together.
Yeah.
Again, this is not good. I don't recommend just holding yourself together off of like tape and braces. No, yeah. But given the challenge we were doing, that was what I had to do to finish it because I wasn't going to quit. Because we did it for a fundraiser. We raised just under $3,000 for the Canadian Cancer Society.
Nice.
We both lost family members of cancer, so it seemed like the only logical choice. We were originally just going to do it for the sake of doing it, but then I just finished Goggins' book, and he did all these runs and events as a fundraiser. So I'm like, okay, let's set up a GoFundMe, and people were really happy to donate, which is crazy.
That's awesome.
I was surprised. We originally set the goal of 1,000, and we tripled it, which was
amazing.
Which was crazy.
Yeah, that is actually kind of crazy.
Couldn't believe it. I was very happy about that. We actually end up doing. It's supposed to be 12 runs. But we misunderstood because if we started it at 6 a.m., we thought we had to finish at 6 a.m. So we ended up doing 13 instead of 12. We did an extra one.
Oh man, that's amazing.
Yeah. We realized that halfway through.
Stay hard.
I stay hard indeed.
Yeah.
That last one sucked.
Yeah. But it must be a sense of like euphoria though. It's like, this is the last one. We're going to get this done.
At mile two. At mile two. Yeah. Because we went 2 miles out, 2 miles in. And I knew at that turnaround point, I was like, okay, I can get landmarks now. I know we're halfway there. Like that first few steps of the last one, I was like, fuck, we don't have to do this one. Yeah. We don't have to do this one. No one's going to know.
No one's going to know.
They're going to know.
They're going to know. What did you gain from that though? You personally,
excuse me.
No problem. Cause a lot of people, when they do it, it's like to test themselves more mentally than physically. Oh, yeah. What did you get from that? Exactly
that. Like, the mental, like literally what get, callousing your mind, like Goggins said, like
you can super important.
Yeah. You can do more than you think you're capable of. I knew I was going to be able to do it. I actually thought it was going to be easier than it was. So being able to push myself and really like give her, I obviously had to complain to myself a little bit like, man, this absolutely sucks. I hate this. But a good thing I was doing it for a good cause. But yeah, I realized like what the body is capable of, even though you're in pain, like your ankle was barking at you, your knees barking at you. God knows your hip's going to give any second now. But you find the pace you can keep and just get it done, grind it out. Right. And just do it. Like I didn't specifically train for it. I just kind of decided to do it like maybe like 2 weeks prior.
Yeah.
My friend asked me.
I do that. So I do those kind of things too sometimes. Like every birthday, I do like a big birthday workout.
I remember when I first met you, you had just turned what, 30?
Yeah, I ran 30K.
Yeah.
I didn't train up to that.
No.
I love running.
Yeah.
And most I do is like 5, 6, 10 if I'm like feeling randy. But 30K is like a lot. And so I was like, turn 30, gonna run 30K. And like, I think by the 25 part, my knee, my right, I think it was, no, my left was, I could feel like it was tight. I could feel my burning and it was rough.
That's the ligaments and tendons being like, they're not used to that much like
poundage.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
to do that, you got to train that. Cause at the time when I did the 4x4, that's hard to say, the Goggins challenge.
We'll call it. Goggins challenge.
So many fours. I had been running like 5K maybe twice a week, and every single run of that challenge was more than 5. It's 6.4, right? So like after all that, you just get like started to hurt. It wasn't that much more of a distance at a time, but it was just the repetitiveness of it that was rough. So now, like you see my Strava, I do like maybe a 7, an 8, and I always do a 10 on a Sunday. Especially because I'm getting ready for like a Spartan race in August and October in Kelowna, and then Blue Mountain in October.
Nice.
And I'm going to do the Spartan Beast in Kelowna,
What's
which
that?
is
What's
a half marathon distance
Oh shit.
of up a mountain, down a mountain, obstacles and all that stuff.
That sounds fun though.
It is fun.
You ever thought about being on like one of these reality shows, like The Challenge or something? I feel like you'd kill it.
I've been asked that before. When I worked at 9 Round, people thought I was like, oh, you should be on Ninja Warrior. I'm like, I'm way too heavy to be on Ninja Warrior.
I don't know about Ninja Warrior.
Yeah. That's like a lot of fingertips, man.
Because they're grabbing things like that.
And when you're 200 pounds, like it's not happening. Like the guys who are like 130 are the ones who win.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, actually.
And they train, obviously.
Well, they train for it too, yeah. What's like a big challenge that you want to work towards other than a race?
Well, I was going to say there's a new event happening in October in New York. It's not new, sorry. It's from Germany. It's called High Rocks. It's still a fitness race. It's like you run a kilometer and do like a sled push. Run a kilometer, do a ski erg. Run a kilometer, do some wall balls.
Oh my gosh.
It's like 8 stations. It's standardized. So it's like eight runs, 8 stations. And like, you get to go and run and do these things. So it's like a functional fitness race. Mm-hmm. I've been super into functional fitness ever since George St. Pierre got me onto that. Mm-hmm. So this is like a great event for someone like me who is just really good at that. Like not really good at a sport like basketball or football or soccer, but I can work really hard and run and do these gym movements really well. Yeah. So that's something I'm working towards. That's happening October 1st as well. So October is busy.
Yeah, really busy.
On top of that, I am training. I'm currently in like online school for firefighting.
Nice.
And like, as we know, firefighting.
I can see you as a firefighter.
Oh, well, you're going to have to because it's going to happen. Yeah. It's a physically demanding job. Mm-hmm. So getting ready for that. Although I'm not going to lie to you, I was looking at the syllabus like in the online schooling and it's like, first of all, firefighting is very physically demanding. So if you're not in like good shape, here's like a recommended like kind of training plan for 12 weeks. And it goes like weeks 1 to 4, 5 to 8, 9 to 12, whatever. And the workouts they gave were just like I'm not going to go into like the details of it. I was like, okay, fine, I will. It's like a 1 mile run, 10 push-ups, 20 squats, like whatever. Mm-hmm. And like 1 round of that.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, wait, really? Like that's the standard for
that's crazy
firefighting? These guys should be beasts.
Yeah.
So I'm not necessarily worried about being like out of shape for firefighting.
That's not the issue.
In fact, I might like want to like help them revamp their shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like if I do something, I want to be like really good at it.
No, I respect
going to that boot camp when I'm done this online part and just killing it, is something that I'm working on. Yeah. Spartans, High Rocks, firefighting boot camp, and just being overall healthy and just being a beast. I want to be able to lift heavy and run fast.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, I like lifting heavy, but my general rule of thumb is like, okay, you can bench 315, but what can you do with that? Yeah. You know what I mean? You can deadlift 500, but what can you do with that? Yeah. Can you transition that into harder kicks? Yeah. That's my idea. Like, I want to be as mobile and as strong as possible, but increase my longevity of life.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to go for, like, when I'm 50, I want to be able to easily go for a 5K. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm going to take me longer to warm up.
Not 50 for your birthday?
Oh, you're an asshole. I'm thinking about that now.
That's endurance. That's endurance training.
Okay. Maybe, actually.
Technically, here's a little tidbit for you. That same buddy I did the Goggins challenge with, he was supposed to do something called the Vermont 100, which is a 100-mile race. So that's 160 kilometers, obviously in Vermont. COVID canceled it. So before he moved to Barrie, he did 100 kilometers around Toronto, like a bunch of 21, like half marathon distance laps around the city repetitively. I was going to do 1 lap with him. And then we finished that lap and I felt great. It was the first time running that distance like straight. Actually, no, second. I had done a Spartan Beast prior to a couple years before in 2019. I felt great because of all the running I had done. I was good for it. We got back to his place, kind of like refuel and stuff. And he had 2 other people who are like other good friends of mine that I hadn't seen because of COVID in such a long time. We're going to do his next lap. So I'm like, well, shit, I'm not just going to like chill here, wait for you guys to come back. I'll do a second lap with you.
Yeah, why not?
End up being like a marathon distance. Mm-hmm. That second lap sucked because like that was like way past my threshold already at the time. Mm-hmm. Plus it was on concrete in the city.
Oh my gosh, that's the worst.
A lot of red lights. Like my feet were like killing me.
I bet.
But my Strava at the end said 42.5 kilometers.
Oh, okay. It's doable, guys. It's doable. 50K.
It's totally doable. Yeah, exactly. It's doable. But here's what I learned from a friend of mine. Technically, a marathon is like 42.1, 42.2, give or take, right? Yeah. anything above that, like even if it's 0.3, is technically an ultra marathon. So technically, by no intention of mine, I don't advertise this either. I am technically an ultra marathon runner.
Oh, I love
Just
it.
saying.
I love
Just saying.
it.
Don't mean to brag.
Don't mean to brag. Okay, so before we end off, because I don't want to keep you for too long, I want to ask you 2 questions.
Okay.
What would you tell an up-and-coming amateur fighter, to give them a little bit of advice?
Mm-hmm.
What's the biggest advice you think they can take from you? And then 2, what would you tell yourself if you could go back?
Oh.
So let's go for the
question.
first one first.
Okay.
First one first. Let's go for the first one.
So the new amateur fighter coming in, definitely don't try to win sparring. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Try to learn. If there's a guy trying to beat the crap out of you, that's more of a him problem, not a you problem.
Mm-hmm.
And don't underestimate like the power of like good nutrition for like your first fight, man. Like you only have so many weeks in a camp to like get the weight down and then be okay with it. Train hard. The training shouldn't be if you're going for a fight, mentally training shouldn't be the problem for you. Understand that. Ask for help. Like it might be a little bit pricey for you, like getting a nutritionist or something like that. But man,
it's worth it.
Do the research. Get some help if you need it. Like that will make or break your camp. And and again, check the ego at the door, man. Don't try to win sparring.
Yeah.
All you gain from winning sparring is losing training partners, and you need them.
Mm-hmm.
Your team is everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What would you tell yourself, man?
So go back to
if you could be like Marty McFly, you could go back, bro, and tell yourself something in that first fight.
Well, technically, Marty McFly talked to his dad. He kept his dad.
Okay, man.
If we're gonna bring up nerd shit, get it right.
My bad. I gotta get you back to talk about nerd shit then.
Oh my god, I can talk about Marvel and everything else for hours.
Okay, I'll bring you back and we'll talk about that.
Sounds good. It's not even a fitness podcast.
Yeah.
It's like a nerd mindset podcast.
I like it.
Telling myself something. My biggest regret with fighting was letting school and work in the industry take that away from me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was totally on me. If I could go back and tell myself something, it would be like what I know now. Prioritize your day around your training and nutrition, right? Don't give up your spot for someone else who wants to come in. Say that unless you're hurting for money, I can't talk about financial things, but it's only going to benefit you to be physically healthy. Cause I don't know about you, but I know, actually I do know, I've listened to this podcast. You feel better mentally too after a good workout. And when you're happier, you're nicer. That's going to make you a better trainer and a better person overall. So just being able to prioritize your day around that and then building your clientele around when you can train, stay healthy, stay happy, stay fit, stay ready, helps a lot. Cause then I wouldn't have ended up taking, well, it's 2022 now. I wouldn't have taken a 7-year hiatus off of fighting. I would still love to get into, I'm not announcing anything. I just have a goal. I've always said I want to do at least minimum 1 MMA fight before I'm 30. And I'm turning 28 this year. So
we got 2 years, baby.
Yeah. Originally, I started saying
like
that
a Rocky montage. Let's go to Russia.
I know. I started saying that when I was like 22, and I was like, "There's no way I'm going to wait that long. I'm almost 28." Again, I mean, partially due to COVID, but everything else was mostly my fault. So, yeah, definitely do not let trying to be a coach take away your ability to work out for yourself. Now, don't be wrong. Some of the best coaches in the world don't train anymore. They aren't the best looking like Instagram models. Actually, some of those guys are the worst coaches you can get. But
I agree with that, by the way.
Yeah,
that's another day.
That's a whole new podcast.
Yeah.
That's a whole new thing.
I agree.
Okay, so hit me back twice. Want to talk about Instagram and want to talk about nerd shit.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, do not let the job or school find a way to make it a priority. Just regardless of how hard it is. Even you got to go late, you got to go early. Find a way to get your training in and stay ready, because you're gonna miss a lot of years of your best for fights, which I think I did. And I'm still.
I think the best is yet to come with you.
I like to think so too. But I would love to get at least one more in, and then a high note.
If you ever need a sparring partner, I got you.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
Believe me, I know I've bled here a couple times too.
Yeah, that was kind of awkward.
Yeah, it was gross. Don't wear a white shirt sparring with Mike O'Keefe.
Nope,
not a good idea.
Bad decision.
Oh,
all right, man. I appreciate you coming on. Okay, I always knew you were a good guy, but I didn't know you were such a self-reflective person. So I appreciate that about you.
Yeah, it's came with time. Came with time.
All good things do.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we're done. We are done, guys. Love you. Out.
Thank you so much.
Whee!